Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Young C, and today we're going to be talking about the number 30 team in the NFL Power Rankings, the Cleveland Browns. Now, let's start off with the Browns by saying they've been terrible for years, and we can't expect much from them, seeing that they were the worst team last year and the number one pick. But looking at the roster, it's not as bad as it might seem. Now let's start with dead. Dead would be Jamie Collins. You almost gotta feel bad for the guy. Like he was a starter for the New England Patriots, a team destined for the Super Bowl, and a team that won the Super Bowl last year. And he was like a Pro Bowl player, but he got traded for a third-round pick to from the best team in football to the worst team. You almost gotta feel bad for him, and that's pretty much gonna end. That's being traded like that is a blow to your career that's going to probably end his. He might have success, but he's on the Browns now, so there's not much you can do. Now let's head into deep sleep, which is the players who might be successful but probably won't, and that would be the wide receivers. And why would it be the wide receivers, you might ask? Well, it's because their quarterback is Brock Osweiler. They actually do have some pretty good receivers. They have Corey Coleman, who was a first-round pick last year, and he's going to be really good. I think he's going to be a good player in this league, but he's really young, and to be their number one guy with Brock Osweiler, it's going to be really hard for them to have a breakout year. And they also have Kenny Britt, who's a great number 2 receiver, which is what he is here. So they're going to have a really tough time, because not only do they play for the Browns, but they have Brock Osweiler throwing to them. So next I have waking up, and my waking up is Myles Garrett. He was the number 1 overall pick, which gives him a huge heads up in the waking up competition, and I think he's going to be a breakout player. He did have a couple of setbacks in training camp. I think he got injured, if I can recall correctly, but he's one of the most talented players coming out of college that I've seen in a long time, and he kind of reminds me of Jadeveon Clowney, where he's got all the talent in the world, and we'll just have to see if he's able to make that into a great career. And my woke, which is the player who is already in the prime and is gonna have a great season, is Joe Thomas. And do I just have to say, I feel so bad for him, but congratulations on just a great career, and I really hope he's able to keep it up for like 5 more, because he is a Hall of Fame player. Like, I mean, I am from Wisconsin and I'm a Wisconsin fan, so I might have a little bias here, but Joe Thomas is one of the top 5 linemen of all time. He's a fantastic player, and to be stuck in Cleveland his whole career not only shows loyalty, but he's had a tough time, if we put it that way. He should have had a chance at the playoffs and success, but just got to tip your cap to him and give him some respect. Now, that's going to be a really interesting matchup, actually. Joe Thomas versus Myles Garrett in practice. And we'll see if that really helps Myles Garrett's development, which I think it will. Now, let's move on to the schedule. Their schedule is I would say one of the weaker schedules in the league, and that's going to help them, I think, with their final record. But first, let's talk about the one-on-one battle of the year. And this award goes to October 8th against the Jets. Brock Osweiler versus Christian Hackenberg. On the perennial worst quarterbacks in the league face off for a chance to get 1 win. Wow, that's pretty terrible. Now, the what to watch for game of the year goes to December 3rd against the Chargers. Last year was a great game when they met, and it ended up 17-20 with the Browns actually getting the win. And they played really tight, and it came down to a last-second field goal that the Chargers shanked. And I think this is gonna be a really good game because they're really good matchups for each other, and I think that it's gonna be super tight like it was last year. And the turn-off games will be against the Steelers week 1 and week 17, and then against the Packers in week 14, December 10th. Those games they're not worth watching because the Browns they're just not good enough. There's not much intrigue in the game where they're going to get run over and it's going to be a blowout. I mean, I guess if you're into the blowout, then you can watch it if you want, but don't just turn it off. Please close your eyes, turn it off, and then throw your TV away. Okay, now on to the final record. I think the Browns they'll actually, I think, what were they? I think they might have been 2-14 last year. Yeah, I think they were. So I do think they'll make an improvement, but it will be marginal. My final prediction for the record will be 3-13. They, like, if you actually looked at the games last year, they were really competitive in a lot of them. So what I think it's going to come down to is, are they able to get the wins this year that they weren't able to get in the close games last year? And I think they'll get one more. See, they have a bunch. They have, like I said earlier, they have one of the weakest schedules. They have the Jets. They have they have the NFC North, which is going to be a really weak division this year. The Bears, the Lions, the Vikings, and besides the Packers, they'll be really good. And they're also playing the Jaguars and the Chargers. And it's just a pretty weak schedule in general. I don't think the Ravens or the Colts will be that good either, but we'll see. So my final prediction is they'll be able to be 3-13, and they'll be one of the worst teams in the league, but they'll make an improvement, and you'll be able to see it because I think they'll have a lot of close games. Now, come back tomorrow where I'll have the next team, number 29. Peace.